It's finally time, after 5 years away from the UFC and hundreds of call-outs later.
Conor McGregor! Conor McGregor! Conor McGregor!
Conor McGregor is finally making his return. And he's not coming back against an easy opponent either. He's fighting Max Holloway in a rematch that's been 13 years in the making. Now, everywhere I look, people are counting Conor out. They're saying he's been away for too long. He's not the same fighter anymore, and Max is just going to outwork him. But I think people might be forgetting something. Yeah, Max has stayed active over these last few years, but staying active also means taking damage. He's been in wars with some of the best fighters in the world. We've seen him get rocked by Charles Oliveira, dropped by Justin Gaethje, and then stopped by Ilia Topuria. Every single one of those fights takes something out of you. Meanwhile, Conor hasn't been fighting. Now I know people are going to say that's exactly why he's going to lose, and maybe they're right. But you've got to remember something. He suffered one of the worst injuries we've seen in the UFC against Dustin Poirier back in 2021. Since then, he's had years to recover, rebuild his body, and focus on getting healthy. So there's always the chance we can see a completely different version of Conor when he comes back. Now, am I saying he's going to look like the Conor from 2016? Probably not. But I also don't think it's fair to assume he's going to look terrible just because he's been away. We genuinely don't know what version of Conor we're getting. And I think that's what makes this fight very interesting. Another thing people aren't really talking about is the weight class. This fight is happening at welterweight. The last time Conor fought at 170 pounds, he knocked out Donald Cerrone in just 40 seconds. We all know Conor had ridiculous power. But when he doesn't have to drain himself to make weight, that power becomes even more dangerous. If Conor lands clearly, Max is going to have to survive some really big shots. But then you've got Max Holloway. This guy is one of the toughest fighters we've ever seen. You've watched him go 5 rounds against Alexander Volkanovski, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, and so many elite fighters. And let's not forget what he did to Justin Gaethje at UFC 300. He literally pointed to the middle of the ground in the final seconds and knocked him out. That's the kind of confidence Max fights with. So this definitely isn't an easy fight for Conor. If the fight goes into the later rounds, I think it starts favoring Max. His cardio is unbelievable. His volume keeps getting higher as the fight goes on, and we've seen him break fighters just by making them fight at his pace. But if Conor's going to win, I think it has to happen early. That's always been Conor's game. He starts fast, he's explosive, and when he's fresh, he's one of the best counter-strikers we've ever seen. If he catches Max in the first couple of rounds, I genuinely think he can shock a lot of people. Could Max win? Absolutely. In fact, I'd probably understand why most people are picking him. He's been active, he's been fighting the best, and we know exactly what we're getting from him. But I also think people are writing Conor off way too early. Sometimes a long break can completely change a fighter, sometimes it doesn't. And until that cage road closes, none of us really know what version of Conor we're getting. That's why I honestly think this fight is a lot closer than people are making it out to be. But that's just my opinion. Do you guys think Conor shocks the world, or do you think Max gets the job done?